What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Wrestling Radar here on Ram Nation Radio. Coming off the heels of Smackdown 1000, Impact Bound for Glory, and controversy over WWE Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. We're live here on a Wednesday, the 17th day of October, coming at you from Conklin Hall on the campus of Farmingdale State College in Farmingdale, New York. I'm your host, Ryan Monterano, alongside my brother, Nick. Nick, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Like you said, a lot of wrestling, a lot of stuff to digest, and a lot of stuff to talk about.
As always, again, before we start the show, make sure to follow us on Instagram and on Twitter at The Wrestle Radar. Also, subscribe to us on YouTube at The Wrestling Radar. Got so much vlogs, content, videos, and if you missed this show, you can go rewatch it on YouTube as we'll upload it by tonight. So if you're already watching on YouTube, obviously you don't have to worry about that, but thank you as always to everybody that tunes in every single week, whether you're watching live on Facebook or listening on the Ram Nation Radio app, which I encourage everybody to download. It's the easiest way to listen to us here, and also watching on YouTube if you're watching it late. So, Nick, got a lot to get into here. We have to start off, though, with the big topic surrounding the wrestling world, surrounding WWE, and that is the controversy over Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. A lot has gone down with Saudi Arabia. They've been in the news, in the newspapers, on TV, about a journalist who got murdered or who went missing, whatever the case may be. I'm not really too sure about the whole entire story. I try not to read too much into it. But a lot of controversy, a lot of things going on in Saudi Arabia, and with Crown Jewel a couple of weeks away, WWE is under some heavy fire at the moment.
Yeah, for about a week now since, like I said, that story came out in the news, it was all kind of just, rumors circulating. But today a story did drop where audio came out almost confirming that is what happened, unfortunately, to that journalist. So now, there's no hiding it. There's no, I read some that says the UFC backed out of a deal with Saudi Arabia getting money from them. So now WWE has, they have a lot on their plate right now to try and figure out if they need to cancel the show. I mean, I think that they should just push everything to Survivor Series and just call it a day.
Yeah, well, they do have backup plans. And, if you've watched WWE programming this week, they keep pushing Crown Jewel, but they don't mention Saudi Arabia. So they still, I guess, don't know whether they're going to do the show or not. Obviously, I feel like they should cancel it. You feel like they should cancel it, right? Everybody feels that way. Whether they do cancel it, though, is still up in the air. I don't think it happens, though.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, money talks, and the amount of money that they were given and the amount of money that it would take to get out of the deal, it's just not worth it to them, So I think, like you said, they're going to keep the event.
And you know what? This is what they get. This is what they get for doing business with Saudi Arabia now for like 10 years. I know, like you said, money talks, but they're deep into this deal now.
They're in this. There's no backing out right now.
They got themselves into this mess, and they should pay the heavy price. And a couple of the comments from a couple of people who work for the company. I just saw on TMZ that Randy Orton just commented on it and said that if you want change in Saudi Arabia, we have to go there to try and change the way they're viewed over there. And also JBL went on Fox News yesterday and said WWE is all about change, and if you want change, you send WWE there. Stupid comments, in my opinion.
I mean, you can almost tell that was almost like giving them on a piece of paper saying, look, say this, we want you to try and make us look good.
Yeah, it's honestly, I don't want to say it's disgusting, because I get where they're coming from, where they have to obviously they have to protect WWE in this situation, I mean, I don't know if JBL works for the company anymore or not, but still, he's not going to get on their bad side by bashing them, even though a lot of people have. So they do need people to back the company up, and so I'm sure everybody is told to do so. But also reports coming out that nobody wants to go to Saudi Arabia in the first place to do this show, and I don't blame them for that either.
Yeah, if you're the women's wrestlers of this company, you are lucking out, because you get to travel to Long Island, New York, while everyone else has to travel to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, exactly. So, who knows what's going to happen with that? But I guess we'll find out soon. Dave Meltzer said that it's still on, and as of right now, I think it's still on. But as we mentioned before, backup plans in the works. If any of these matches don't go down in Saudi Arabia, they'll go down most likely at Survivor Series, or if they go to another country, I have no idea. But they have to act fast, because we're already at the end of October, and this event is, early November. Yeah. So if they're going to do something about it, they have to pull the trigger. And them taking forever like this just tells me that they're not going to pull any trigger. And it's just going to go forth with, this event. So whatever, it is what it is. That's WWE for you. But on to bigger and better things. Should we even mention Raw from Monday? Because I don't even think it's worth it.
I really don't think it's even worth talking about Raw. It's the only like talking point of Raw was obviously Ronda Rousey's promo.
Yeah, let's talk about
Nikki
that.
Bella. Took some shots, got a little edgy there, which some people are complaining about. But you know what? That's they're the same people that complain about WWE not being edgy enough. So I mean,
this is a pretty good segment, I gotta say, for a match that nobody's really into, for a match that people don't think deserves to headline this event. They got people talking. They definitely did, and I think this is exactly what the feud needed. Bella Twins coming out, obviously bashing Ronda Rousey. Of course, they have so much on Ronda because Ronda hasn't been in the business nearly as long as the Bella Twins have. And then, Ronda talking about how the only door Nikki Bella's ever closed was the door to John Cena's bedroom and this and that. And it got a good reaction from the crowd. And you could tell Ronda's a little shaky on the microphone still. But once she gets into a groove, then she just spits fire. But it comes off a little awkward at first and something that she still has to keep working on. But I thought overall it was a pretty good segment. And, like you said, people are going to hate it. Some people are going to love it. Same people that want the Attitude Era back. But you know what? When we get edgy stuff like this, you might as well enjoy it because we don't get it very often.
Yeah, I feel like Ronda, like you said, she's a little shaky at first, but I think it's because she's not believable at first because she comes out smiling, waving to everybody, high-fiving everybody, and then 5 seconds later she's trying to act all tough. So it's very hard to be believable. But like you said, towards the end of that promo, she really did, kick it up a notch, and she was really, a really good promo.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm curious to see where the feud goes from here. We're only a couple of weeks away from Evolution, so we'll see what else they could add, another layer to this storyline. It is funny, though, how Brie Bella just kind of, like, sits back and chills there while all this is going on. Obviously, Nikki Bella has always been at the forefront out of the two. She's always been the one that's got the championship opportunities, all the accolades and stuff like that. She's a way better wrestler than Brie Bella, obviously. But it's just funny how Brie Bella just sits back and watches all this go down. It's got to be eating at her because I'm sure she would love to get in there with Ronda Rousey too. But yeah, I mean, that was the big thing that happened on Raw. Nothing else really newsworthy. The same main event we got 2 weeks in a row now, 3 times in like the past week and a half, if you want to count, what happened at the Australia show at the Super Showdown. But The Shield, Braun Strowman, Ziggler, and McIntyre. But finally, we got some separation as Drew McIntyre, Dolph Ziggler, and Braun kind of just exploded.
Yeah, I think it's good that, Drew McIntyre was put in the position that he was, standing tall, because I think that we say this about everybody that, we think that they're the future, and then they never get a push.
Yeah.
But I really hope that they do good with him because I could easily see him being a future Universal Champion.
Yeah, I mean, at this rate, how could you not push this guy? He's a monster, and he's got a different persona to him this time around than his first run with WWE. So, I mean, if they don't see money in this guy, if they don't see world champion in this guy, I mean, it's really a damn shame. So let's hope that they give him a push that he deserves. We'll see where it goes. But they keep teasing a Dean Ambrose heel turn, too. Him and Rollins got into it. That was also another thing coming out of Raw. Again, they're just going to keep teasing this and teasing this and teasing this. Yeah. And I don't buy it. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah, no, I think we even brought this up on the podcast a week or two ago, where I said that they're going to keep building it and building it and building it to when it actually happens, no one cares about it. But you disagreed and said that that's the opposite. That when it does happen, people are going to be shocked.
Yeah. But
I just can't see how that's going to happen since every single week he's turning away from them. They're getting pushing and shoving, not shaking their hand, walking away. It's just like when it happens, you'd be like, yeah, I mean, kind of figured that is going to happen.
Yeah, I know. That's why I feel like they should take a while and not do it until early 2019 on the road to WrestleMania, because I feel like if people will be expecting it for the next few weeks and maybe the next few months, but if it happens like 3 months down the line now, are you going to be expecting it? You're just going to figure that they just kind of put it off to the side and forgot about it, right? That's, I think, what they need to do here.
I think the best way to solidify Dean's heel turn is in the Royal Rumble. You have maybe the last 4, maybe even the last 3, Rollins, Ambrose, and someone else, and then have Ambrose eliminate Rollins.
Yeah.
I think that would be a great way, to really solidify that heel turn. And
Yeah. I mean, that would definitely be interesting, and that could definitely lead to it. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Again, I don't think anything's going to happen until the year is over and done with, and we go into 2019. The road to WrestleMania, the road to Royal Rumble even, should get interesting. But yeah, other than that, not much to talk about on Raw. All right, SmackDown 1000, though. That was one heck of a show last night. Not the greatest show, and I really didn't expect much going into it. But it was a pretty good show, and I thought overall it was better than Raw 25.
Yeah, definitely. This wasn't a show that was building towards anything. It was kind of just a nostalgia show.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it was. Seeing Edge come back,
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio, The Undertaker, from the older fans, Evolution.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really had everything. And like I said, it was a fun show, and it's almost like you wanted an extra hour instead of being 2 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting on the conversation on Facebook Live. I know a lot of people are watching right now. Thank you, everybody who's in, Facebook Live in the chat room, commenting and watching right now. We really appreciate it. Yeah, I know. The show overall was very fun, but I thought it was a weird opening with Truth TV, whatever they call it, R-Truth and Carmella, and then Shane comes out and Stephanie comes out, and then Vince comes out. But overall, I thought it was a pointless opening. It's always cool to see Vince whenever he comes back, and he always gets a major pop. That's one thing I gotta say. People constantly complain about Vince McMahon and the way he's running the company and how he's so out of touch and this and that. When he comes out, people go nuts for him.
They bow down to him. They kiss his feet, basically.
It's pretty funny how that happens. But obviously, without Vince, none of this is even possible. So I guess that's what people's mindset is going into it when they see him. But yeah, that was an opening. It was very cool to see the McMahon family all in the same ring together because you don't really get to see that too often. Evolution segment, I think, was the best segment of the night, in my opinion. Even though they never were on SmackDown Live before, it was really cool to see the four of them together again, especially Ric Flair with everything that he's gone through over the past, year and a half or so. I believe it was last summer where he nearly died, just a couple of weeks before SummerSlam. And now he's back in there looking better than ever, just the same old Ric Flair. So it's great to see that.
Yeah, and even better than Ric Flair was seeing Batista come back in a WWE ring, and he just looked happy. He looked like he knew that that's where he was meant to be. Obviously he has his movie career, but he definitely, you can tell that he missed being inside that ring.
Of course.
And he even teased a possible, return to the ring, talking about how he's never beaten by Triple H? He never got to beat Triple H?
No, Triple H has never beaten him.
Yeah, Triple H never beaten him. Possibly setting up a match between those two. I mean, sign me up for it. WrestleMania, maybe?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, seeds planted, whether it leads to anything or not, they obviously planted these seeds for a reason. I guess maybe as just, something that they could possibly come back to and say, oh, look, the story's already here. We already built, already started this, basically, and we can, roll with it, whether they do or not. WrestleMania is still a long ways away. So I don't know if Batista's, in talks of coming back. I don't know if last night being in the ring changed his opinion. Maybe he wants to come back because it wasn't too long ago when he was back. It was 2014, I believe he came back, won the Royal Rumble, and he was booed completely because of the Daniel Bryan run, obviously, and then he left on bad terms again. I don't know with the company if he left on bad terms, but he left on bad terms with the fans. Nobody wanted to see him. And now he returns with Evolution. Now everybody wants to see him back again. So yeah, I hope it happens.
Yeah, no, like I said, going back to he returned in a rough spot because that was during the era of if your name's not Daniel Bryan, we're gonna boo you.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going up against Daniel Bryan. So that was just not the right time for him to come back.
Yeah.
And so I think if he came back now, he would obviously get a much better, much warmer reaction from the crowd.
Yeah, I definitely think so too, and I hope so because he deserves it. Really, really cool to see him back. Obviously, he built SmackDown, basically. He was like the man on SmackDown back in the day. A lot of good memories with him. So, yeah, great to see him back in there. So, really, really good segment, like you said, for the nostalgia feel. And I knew they weren't going to do much, but what they did do and what they did tease really worked in that spot. The cutting edge, like you said, Edge coming back. Long hair and all again.
Yep. It was looking like the old Edge. The only thing he was missing was that pyro, but as we all know, that's not coming back. So
sadly, unfortunately, it's not coming back. But yeah, that was another good segment I thought with Becky Lynch on the cutting edge. I thought he was gonna bring out Becky and Charlotte together, but he just brought out Becky at first and then kind of gave her a talk about how he knows what she's going through or whatever. Obviously, Edge was the ultimate heel back in the day. I thought it was a little weird how they had Edge like try and talk to Becky and get out of her head a little bit. I thought it was a little weird because, I mean, Edge was a heel for most of his career, so it kind of just seemed weird. But then when Becky just snapped and turned on him and said, "Get the hell out of my ring, trying not to hurt your neck," thought that was great.
Yeah, no, yeah, she definitely turned full heel right there. And like I said, those are those one-liners that that she has, that Ronda had. Those are the things that get the most heat from the crowd. And like you can tell when I even said when she said, I'm like, oh shit, like you're not expecting her to say something like that. I mean, but I think I honestly I kind of like the whole thing with her Edge talking to her because. Throughout Edge's career, he burned a lot of a lot of bridges. He cashed in on people. Some people, his friends, cashed in on the Undertaker, things like that. So like he, like I said, he knows better than anybody that when you screw everybody in your past, you don't got a lot of friends at the end of the day. So I guess he's trying to warn Becky of that. But obviously, Becky being the ultimate heel right now, she doesn't care about that.
Yeah.
And then Charlotte comes out. They proceed to brawl, and Edge just sits there and watches. I mean,
As Finlay and Jamie Noble try and break it up. I always love when they run out and try to break up these fights. But just another layer in this feud that culminates at Evolution. There's some talk of Becky Lynch being injured, though. I don't know if you heard that rumor. So who knows what's going to happen. I believe Evolution will be like the culmination, like I said, of the feud. So whether Becky wins or not, I guess it'll determine her fate and whether she has to go out, I think... what, she have a back injury or something like that, or something with her neck? I don't know.
Yeah, it was something, but I think if she does have to go out, I think a good way to do it would be to have the winner of that battle royal come in and kind of screw her, so you don't like end the feud, making Becky look weak after all of this. Yeah, and possibly.
That's another thing too that I forgot to mention: the battle royal at Evolution with a bunch of women.
Mostly the SmackDown roster.
Yeah.
I mean,
winner gets a championship opportunity. I believe Carmella's in it. The Iconics, Asuka,
Ember Moon,
Naomi,
Tamina,
Nia
Jax.
I mean, obviously, some of them that weren't going to get big, singles matches to begin with, so you just throw them in the Battle Royal. At least they're on the card. Not many women liked it, as they all tweeted gifs of like just of them basically just
looking
like
all confused. And...
Yeah, it was pretty funny. So I don't know. I mean, I do feel for them. I understand where they're coming from in that scenario. But at the same time, they're on the card. So like, you can complain, but to a point, because again, they're still on the card. They're still involved. Would they rather not be on the card? You know what I'm saying? Not everybody can get a singles match, obviously, but some people like Asuka, like Ember Moon, like Naomi. Like I'm a little disappointed because I feel like they have more to offer. But obviously, like the Iconics, like what were they going to do at the pay-per-view? Carmella has really taken a hit as of late. She wasn't really going to do much. So some of them, Tamina, Nia Jax, they deserve to be in the Battle Royal, I think. But you know what? It is what it is. They also announced Ivory, Molly Holly, and I believe Tori Wilson for the Battle Royal too. So I'm sure that's the spot where most of the legends are going to be too. But yeah, it's it's sad, but I understand where they're coming from. And like I said, I encourage everybody to get involved on Facebook right now. Got a lot of comments so far. Anthony Strano watching right now says, "R.I.P. Asuka." I agree, Ant. It's a shame. She's gone downhill. I mean, she's been dead basically for a couple of months now. I think some people will say when Charlotte beat her at WrestleMania, but I don't think that's the case. I think her career really took a hit when she started losing to Carmella over the summer. It's just, it's something that is sad, but it's typical WWE. Like, it's just not surprising. If you've watched over the years and you constantly see them kill these stars that had so much momentum coming up from NXT, it's not surprising at all. I mean, it was only a matter of time. Right out of the gate, they built her up great in the beginning of the year, won the Royal Rumble, and, was undefeated. But you knew it wasn't going to last.
Yeah, it really is a shame because, like I said, you look at Asuka in NXT and you look at Asuka now in the main roster, and it's two completely different wrestlers.
Yeah.
And Asuka was a beast in NXT, unbeatable, and I knew that she wasn't going to be unbeatable forever because that's just not realistic. But, I think, like you said, taking the hit from Charlotte didn't really do much to her because Charlotte is an amazing wrestler. But, again, losing to Carmella and then getting into stuff with James Ellsworth, it just really just diminish her status, and it's really a shame.
It really is. This Evolution card to me is a little disappointing, I gotta say, because I expected a lot more, and if anybody's seen the leaked card that was out there, everybody started complaining about it and all that, but I would have taken that card over what we're getting right now.
We don't even have a card. You can't even. It's what 3 matches, possibly 4, because the UK match isn't really confirmed yet. But so we have 3 matches right now, and the pay-per-view is what, next Sunday?
Yeah, a week from this Sunday. Yeah.
I mean 4 if you count the Battle Royal, but I mean that's not really a match.
And then you have the Mae Young Classic finals too.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So 4 matches right now with with the Battle Royal, but that's not really a card.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's 5 matches. So you have right now you have Becky Lynch and Charlotte. You have obviously the tag match between Alexa and Mickey versus Trish and Lita, which I feel like why not? It's going to be the co-main event probably. You have Ronda and Nikki, so that's 3. You have the NXT Women's title on the line as Shayna Baszler against Kairi Sane. You have Rhea Ripley versus Isla Dawn for the UK Women's title. You have the Mae Young Classic Finals. I won't spoil that in case anybody didn't see that yet. And I guess that's it, right? As of right now.
Yeah, I mean,
and the Battle Royal.
The show starts at 7 o'clock, so it's gonna be a 4-hour show.
Oh, it's gonna be a regular WWE pay-per-view.
So you'd think that they'd try and get like 10 matches on this card, like they've done for past pay-per-views, which I think they easily could have done, even if they just got the Iconics versus Molly Holly and someone
anybody, yeah.
Just put matches like. I don't want to see filler. I don't want to see backstage. I want to see matches between these people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's going to be a couple more matches getting announced, I'm sure, because I don't think anybody like Natalya, I don't think is in the Battle Royal, right?
No.
So she's still out there. Sasha and Bayley aren't in the Battle Royal. They're still out there. There are still some women's wrestlers out there that aren't in the Battle Royal yet and who could potentially have singles matches. So I feel like they are going to add more. This is not the end of the card.
Well, there has been that the rumor for a while now that the tag team titles are coming. So if that's a thing, I heard that Stephanie has an announcement is going to be made on the card. So I'm sure if that is the fact that Stephanie will announce the tag team titles in the beginning of the show, and then later on in the show you'll have a match for that. Honestly, if they really want to make this card exciting, put those tag team titles above the ring and have a women's ladder match for the titles. That would add to this card and elevate it.
I don't. It definitely.
I don't see it happening, but I mean that's something that they should do. That would really elevate this card.
Yeah. Anthony writes, are they still planning the tag titles? Yeah. I don't know. I really don't. I guess we'll find out at the event because I don't think at this point they're going to announce it before the event. I feel like they'll announce it at the pay-per-view, if so, or maybe like on the pre-show or something like that. To me, I think those belts are just so stupid, though, if they do introduce them. To me, it's just more championships. I mean, how much more championship belts are they going to be in WWE? I mean, my God, there's just too many. And, I don't want to say there's not enough women's wrestlers because there is.
There's not enough teams that make sense.
I know.
Like, you're gonna have Naomi and Asuka going for the tag team titles.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't mix well.
Yeah.
I mean, and then like I said, that's probably why they're holding Bayley and Sasha off the card. Probably throw Natalya and Beth Phoenix together. I'm surprised they didn't leave the Iconics out of the Battle Royal just in case.
That's what I'm saying. That makes no sense too. Like, why wouldn't they're actually a tag team? They've been a tag team for as long as I've known them in NXT. That makes no sense. And then you have Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose
who are in the Battle Royal. They
are announced in the Battle Royal.
They were announced the other day.
There goes that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, who knows at this point if the tag titles are even coming? I pray to God they're not, but I guess only time will tell. And like you said, I think Sasha and Bayley are the only two that suit that right now, and that's exactly what Anthony says as well. Which is probably why they're leaving them off the Battle Royal. And at this rate, I don't think they're going to get singles matches on the card anyways, because who are they going to face that really makes sense? So I don't know. We'll talk more Evolution next week because it'll be the last show before the pay-per-view, so we'll give a whole review, preview, predictions, all that.
Hopefully by that time we have at least 2 or 3 more matches announced that we can talk about, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, this is the final Raw and SmackDown, so whatever is going to be announced should be made official on Raw. So yeah, I mean, that will be that, so that'll be fun. We'll obviously be at the event too, and tailgating before, so that should be fun. I'm looking forward to all of that, and I just really hope the pay-per-view delivers, though, but we'll see, and we'll talk more next week. But, we got totally sidetracked. It's still on the topic of SmackDown, so after the Cutting Edge segment, what else happened on SmackDown? We had
you had the New Day putting their titles on the line against the Bar. And the Bar's new SmackDown Tag Team Champions with the help of the Big Show, which still baffles me. I'm really not sure why they feel the need that the Bar needs the Big Show.
Oh my God, I It's just I don't even have the words.
This guy just shows up when he wants and just costs people matches and joins people. Like,
it's unbelievable. It's had to be the 1,000th heel turn for Big Show, and which is why they saved it for the 1,000th episode of SmackDown. Because my God, how many more times is this guy gonna go from face to heel, face to heel? Does anybody care about the Big Show anymore? I stopped caring about him years ago.
I don't think I ever cared about him, honestly. I mean,
good point. It's unbelievable because the bar is so good. They don't need the Big Show to help them win matches.
Yeah,
they were so dominant on Raw.
And if the Big Show would have just walked out, like after he attacked, the New Day, then I would have said, okay, that was a little weird. Mm-hmm. But the fact that he held the titles up for them,
yeah,
and
is this a new thing?
Like you said, the bar is capable of doing it on their own. I don't know. It's just I just don't think it's gonna be a good look if he starts walking around with them. I hope he doesn't, but
I mean, who knows? Like you said, he held the titles up in the air. He took a picture with them backstage. So like, it seems like it's a thing at least for now. But why? Why is that even necessary? I don't know.
Makes sense.
I don't have no words for that. Rey Mysterio versus Shinsuke Nakamura, though. The return of Rey Mysterio, who signed a 2-year deal with the company, so he's back full-time now, which is great to see. One last run for Rey. Good match against Shinsuke. He got the win, no surprise. He's in the World Cup. Just really, really cool to see Rey Mysterio back.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, going back to that nostalgia factor of last night, seeing Rey Mysterio on the TV just brought me back to the good old days of Friday nights, watching Rey Mysterio and Batista and Edge and Undertaker.
Yeah.
Like, those are, like I said, those were the days. Like I said, growing up, SmackDown was our show because, we watched Raw, but, we were young. So, like, we had to go to school the next day, so we couldn't watch the end of Raw.
Yeah.
Or, so, like, SmackDown was the show where, I could watch every week. And
I mean, we didn't go out on Friday nights.
Yeah.
We didn't have a job.
We didn't have plans. We didn't have
Right, so we just looked forward to watching Friday Night SmackDown, seeing Batista, Edge, Rey Mysterio.
Jeff Hardy, all
yeah.
It's a shame that Jeff wasn't there last night, but,
Yeah, I know, but he was backstage, though, in this segment with Rey. Remember, they
they
kind of
shook hands,
embraced and stuff, before Rey went out there. But, yeah, I mean, just a really cool moment. Great to see Rey Mysterio back, and we'll see what happens now. He's in the World Cup, and it's only fitting that he's in that World Cup because you have John Cena, Kurt Angle, Seth Rollins, Dolph Ziggler, The Miz. I mean, Jeff Hardy is in it, right? I believe. Rey Mysterio.
Someone who's not American. I mean.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I mean, it's completely stacked. Saudi Arabia wants what they want. They want these stacked cards with these stars of back in the day, and that's what Anthony says. Some Saudi prince probably loves the Big Show. They only get Raw from 2002 in Saudi Arabia, I guess. It's true. It really is. They're living in the Attitude Era days.
They got to be careful that, the Big Show doesn't screw up or else they might kill him. You don't know.
Yeah, right? I mean, my God. It totally makes sense as to why the Big Show's back if that's the case. And then it would be funny after Saudi Arabia if he just floats away and we don't see him anymore. It's kind of just like, what the heck? Brian says, ruthless aggression era tournament, LOL. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Basically. But it should be good either way. I don't really think they even went over the rules of this tournament, though.
Yeah, I'm not even sure how it's going to work. Because,
Yeah.
Are these guys going to have, 3 matches in one night?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. Like, it's not a battle royal.
Like, are they going to start the matches on, Raw, like, the following way? I mean, we only have... Actually, no, we don't even have... Like, we have, what 2 more Raws before...
Yeah, well...
It's November 2nd, so
right.
So it's like the week after Evolution, so we don't even have that many Raws after.
But the way they're advertising it, it says the World Cup's taking place at Crown Jewel, so it's not even like, it's going to start on Raw. Like, they never said that. They just keep saying Crown Jewel, so who knows how this is going to work out. I'm really curious to see, but it's completely stacked from top to bottom. But, yeah, great to see Rey Mysterio back, and I want to see more of him and Shinsuke Nakamura. Hopefully it wasn't a one-off. Shinsuke losing clean. I don't want to say it hurts him because, Shinsuke really hasn't done much to begin with lately, so he's pretty much sinking very fast, even though he's still the champion.
I'm thinking with that crown jewel with the World Cup, maybe because we don't even have a real card for that. We had kind of, DX versus Brothers of Destruction and Daniel Bryan versus AJ. Maybe that's how they're going to build the card. Maybe they'll have John Cena versus Kurt Angle, then Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins, and, like, those will be the undercard.
Yeah, well,
It's a pretty damn good undercard, but
yeah, it could be, but who knows?
you have guys wrestling, twice or 3 times in one night, but
Yeah, well, the event's going to be like 5 hours anyways. I'm sure if it's anything like the Greatest Royal Rumble was, that event was like 5 hours long. So yeah, I mean, they haven't really announced much of an undercard, and what else are you going to possibly put on there besides maybe tag title matches and whatever? But yeah, all we know is the tournament will determine who is the best in the world. Yeah, I know, Bri. Michael Cole just continues to shove that down our throats time and time again to determine the best in the world, best in the world, best in the world.
Because WWE is the only company that exists in the world.
Let me tell you, Michael Cole, Kenny Omega's not in the tournament, right? So obviously
CM
they
Punk's
can
not
determine
the
the best in the world.
Everyone,
Yeah, you see Jericho putting on
posted,
Instagram. He said, as long as I'm still breathing, the tournament ain't going to be for the best in the world. So I like that. A couple of shots at that line. But yeah, I mean, my God, how many times do you have to tell us that on the broadcast? Like 2 minutes apart from each other every single time.
Hey, well, that's how they are. I mean, if you remember the time when Evolution got announced, every single time Evolution had to be followed with first ever all women's pay-per-view.
Yeah,
to the point where we get it.
Survivor Series, the only night of the year where Raw and SmackDown go head to head in competitions.
And before all this, journalist stuff, Crown Jewel emanating from the progressive kingdom of Saudi Arabia, like I said, they love the little buzzwords and the catchphrases,
and they shove it down our throat way too much. It's very, very annoying. Again, it's to a point where I can't wait for this to be over so I don't have to hear Michael Cole say that, but I'm sure it's only a matter of time before he comes up with something else. And I know it's not him. I'm sure it's Vince feeding him those lines, but he probably is telling him in his ear every 5 minutes, hey, make sure you say it's the best in the world.
And we got off on another tangent. That's 2 tangents right now, but so after Rey Mysterio got the pin, maybe like a couple seconds later, Undertaker's gong hit, and I thought that they were gonna have an interaction for good old good times, the old time's sake. But now Mysterio kind of went out of the ring, Undertaker came in, and you even called it. You're really sitting there watching it, and you said, watch, he's gonna say this exact thing, and he said, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, I got 3 words for you. Rest in peace. Then he left.
At Crown Jewel. Nothing about SmackDown 1000 or anything like that. You could see it coming because, we're watching the show, right? And we know SmackDown always goes off the air right at 10 o'clock. Like, it's not like Raw where it goes over 11 o'clock. It goes until 11:15 sometimes here and there. It's done after 10 because they have other programming to get to. So you see it's 9:55. You know how long The Undertaker gets to the ring anyways. I mean, it takes forever for him to get there. You knew nothing big was going to happen. You knew he was going to say a couple of words. But again, he could have said something like about Smackdown.
Yeah.
The fact that he was an integral part of the show for all his life and all of the show's existence. I mean, he could have said something about that instead of shoving Crown Jewel down our throat. We already get that enough. We have already seen him like 4 times on Raw promoting, the Super Showdown. And, we've already gotten the vignettes and the promos from him and Kane to DX. Why do we need more of that,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. Like I said, that really did absolutely nothing for the feud or anything.
Yeah, I mean, that was just very, very disappointing. I think a lot of people were expecting more, and people in the audience too had to be disappointed with that. But obviously it was good that he appeared because you can't have the show without the Undertaker. Maybe they ran over time, anyways. Maybe with the Evolution stuff that took forever, or the Cutting Edge. Who knows? We don't know.
Yeah.
I think we both said this last night too that the show could have benefited from being 3 hours.
Definitely,
it wasn't. In a way, though, it would have been a little weird because SmackDown's never really been 3 hours, so I guess they just wanted to keep it at the same format. Either way, though, very fun show. Nothing too special. I didn't really expect much to begin with. A lot better than Raw 25, though, I'll tell you that. But yeah, SmackDown 1000, and congratulations to them. And here's to another, here's to SmackDown 2000. I'm sure will happen at some point, too, because this show just continues to evolve and grow. That's one thing that Triple H said during the Evolution segment as well. So good stuff. That's WWE for the week, basically, and everything going on with that. Let's get to Bound for Glory that happened this past Sunday for Impact Wrestling, the biggest event of the year for Impact. We were there in attendance at the Melrose Ballroom in New York City. My first time being there, yours as well. It was an okay venue. I heard a lot of great things about it. My thing is, it was way too small. We stood up the whole entire show, as did about 80% of the crowd, I feel like, because they only had bleachers and like first row and second row seating. Then they had a balcony with only first row seating. But mostly everybody there was standing up. It was standing room only. Very small, intimate place. But I thought overall the show was pretty good.
Yeah, no, there definitely was a great show, and venue-wise, I think it was just that, obviously it was sold out. Impact sold a lot of tickets, and there was a lot of people there. I've heard, because that's where Joey Janela's spring break was, MLW film taping there, and people say that it's not that bad because they don't have bleachers, so I think the bleachers took up a lot of room for, Impact, but like I said, I didn't mind standing. So we had a good spot at least. Some people were, basically sitting on the bar all the way in the back and probably couldn't see a damn thing. But we saw, we had a great view of everything.
Yeah, well, we got there pretty early as it is, and then we met up with a couple of buddies of ours that, got pretty good standing spots to begin with, and then I went to go get a drink at the bar, and then, I was kind of standing behind you and our other friend, and then all of a sudden, they started handing out these pens that everybody went wild for, so I kind of just inched my way up to grab one, and all of a sudden, before I knew it, I was standing in the front of everybody, and, that's all it was all night long, was basically if somebody goes to the bathroom, you push into his spot, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I got pushed out of my spot like 3 or 4 times, so, and then eventually towards the end of the event, I got right back next to you somehow.
That's what I'm saying, so it was a fight all night long, but, very, very close to the action, which I always love, too. That's one of the best things about going to a non-WWE event is you're always so close to the action. I mean, I felt like we were legit on top of the ring the entire night.
I mean, if you watched the Impact pay-per-view or you were there, you would have noticed that there was not a lot of room on the outside of the ring. I mean, just like on the sides of the ring, they were maybe like 2 feet across, maybe. So the wrestlers didn't have a lot of room to work with on the outside. The ramp went right through the ring. So
very short ramp.
There was no walking, completely around. So like I said, it was a very, tight venue. But like I said, it's cooler that way because, you feel like you're right in there close to the action.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I certainly enjoyed the show. I didn't think it was as good as the Slammiversary pay-per-view that they had over the summer. I thought that show just kicked ass. It was just such a good show, and it really got people talking about Impact again. But this show was good. Yeah, I really can't say anything bad about it. I have no complaints. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and complain about Impact, okay? We do that enough about WWE. I'm not going to complain about a promotion that's run by Don Callis, somebody who I like very much and who I think is moving the company in the right direction. Obviously, they'll always be Impact. They'll always be the little brother to WWE, obviously, as will everybody else involved in the wrestling business. Their production could be a little better at times, but I thought this looked good on TV. I did go back and watch a couple of clips on YouTube and on the Impact's Instagram and Twitter. I thought it looked really, really good. A couple of big things that happened on the show. We have a new Impact World Champion, Johnny Impact, defeating Austin Aries. A lot of controversy going on after that match as well. We'll get into. I thought, Tessa Blanchard and Taya Valkyrie Knockouts title match was one of the best matches on the show. LAX OG's Concrete Jungle.
Match. Oh man, that was brutal, that match.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, they exposed the wooden boards underneath, and they're lucky that nothing seriously bad went wrong because it was only like a 10-minute match, and I noticed it too. I was like, wow, it was kind of short, but if you noticed in that match, the suplexes and the bumps they were taking, the boards literally shook out of place.
Yeah, and there was a time where one of the boards got like wedged up, so if you fell on it, that board was going right into your back, and you can tell the referee was trying to push it back in to the point where he has pushed it all the way out. And now there's a gap in the ring. There's a gap in the ring, so now when they're running around, they got to make sure their foot doesn't go through because they're gonna fall right through the bottom. Right through the ring, basically.
It was dangerous. Yeah, it was a very, very risky match that Impact put on. But I
think that if they were to redo it, they'd have to, probably
secure them.
Strap down the boards. You still leave them exposed. Just strap them down. That way they don't move.
Yeah.
When you walk on them, at least.
And the ref obviously has to be on top of that too. But I thought it was a very fun match, very brutal match. Good stuff there. Like I said, the Knockouts title match I thought was really good. Tessa Blanchard retains over Taya. Tessa, to me, is, everybody who knows me knows I love Tessa Blanchard, and I keep praising her. I think she is the best women's wrestler in the world right now, honestly. I mean, it's hard to say when you have the women in WWE like Charlotte and all that, but aside from the WWE, let's put that to the side. I mean, she's the best. I mean, she walks like a champion. She looks like a champion. She wrestles like a champion. She carries herself like a champion. She's as good as it gets.
Yeah, and I still remember when she signed with Impact, we were all like, really? I mean, we didn't think that was the right move for her, but Impact is the perfect place for her to be because she can showcase, showcase what she's got on TV and a big platform, and she's still working wherever the hell she wants. Goes to all these different companies, to Mexico, to LA, now to Impact. Like, she wrestles all over the world.
Exactly.
And like, she's a world-class athlete.
Yeah, absolutely. You had OVE rules, which I didn't really understand that stipulation because the match really wasn't that hardcore. Sami Callihan, Dave Chris, Jake Chris against Brian Cage and the Lucha Bros. Very, very good match. I love Pentagon Jr. and his brother Phoenix. And
Phoenix is every time he's one of those guys. He's like a Will Ospreay, where every time you watch him, you're like, all right, what is he gonna do that's gonna amaze me now? Because he's already done a million things before, and he always finds something new. Like, I feel like he probably has, but I feel like I've not seen him do the same thing twice. He's always coming up with new ways to, do things and take the extra step to just make these moves and matches just incredible.
Yeah, Sami Callihan getting the win on Brian Cage, his first loss in Impact Wrestling, so that was a pretty big deal for the people who watch Impact every single week. Eli Drake had an open challenge answered by James freaking Ellsworth.
Oh, man, did New York kill him?
Ripped him apart, yeah, and rightfully so. A lot of people were expecting somebody like Jericho or somebody bigger, which we did end up getting Abyss after, and I knew right when James Ellsworth came out that there was something more to this, and Abyss, who just went into the Hall of Fame, then came out and destroyed Eli Drake. But yeah, crowd just ate James Ellsworth up, and he was the babyface in that situation, and they just weren't buying it. So that's pretty funny there. Anthony says that Su Yung stuff was goofy. Yeah, I agree with that. I was just going to get to that. That was the only thing of the pay-per-view that I thought was like what are we watching here? But
you can't focus on that when you got a whole show of good wrestling matches. You can't focus on the one stupid little segment that was just used so they can put the ring back together after the LAX match.
Yeah.
But of course, all the Impact haters, the indie wrestling haters, that's exactly what they're going to look at.
Yeah.
And that's what I've seen people, criticizing Impact for, but I overlooked that, and I don't even think about that.
Listen, this is what Impact does. We've seen it with the Final Deletion. We've seen it. They kind of do like these matches that are like movies, basically. But again, I don't like the aspect of the fireballs and whatever, like blocking Ali from getting to Su Yung. To me that's just unrealistic. They could have just fought in the house or in the undead realm, whatever they wanted to call it, and that would have been okay. But yeah, they needed something to fill the time so that they could put the ring back together, and it certainly took up enough time.
Which is probably what a lot of people watching at home, maybe they didn't put the pieces together that's what they were doing while that video was going on. They were putting the ring back together. Just like beforehand, they had all the promo videos when they were taking the ring apart, so you had to, fill time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also want to shout out Willie Mack, too, in the opener tag match. Willie Mack, Rich Swann versus Matt Sydal and Ethan Page. Just great stuff. I thought
that was a great opener.
Yeah,
great
absolutely.
Way to, get a hot opener, get the crowd going. And Willie Mack, he's amazing.
Yeah, so much charisma, and he moves like a,
moves like a cruiserweight. Like I said, he reminds me of like a Keith Lee. He's big, but he can still move.
Yeah, I love him. I think he's great too, and apparently he's going to be seen on Impact a lot more now, which is good because he definitely deserves it. And also Ethan Page is very good too. But yeah, Brian says they try to be different, Impact, and some like it, some don't. Can't please everyone. Yeah, it's basically not just Impact; it's any company. It's WWE too. Everybody complains about that. WWE will never be able to please anybody either. So yeah, you're always going to have haters and people who criticize here and there, but. Overall, I thought, again, I'm not going to really fault them because of the situation. But let's talk about the controversy surrounding the main event, Austin Aries and Johnny Impact. Johnny Impact hits Starship Pain, his finisher, on Austin Aries for the win, gets the win, and the crowd goes nuts. Austin Aries completely just no-sells it, gets up, yells something to Don Callis, who's up in the balcony, flips him off, spits on Johnny Impact, walks out, flipping the bird to the fans and everybody else, and he walks out.
Yeah, I noticed this immediately.
Oh, me too.
When he got right up, I'm like, wait, why did he just get up? I thought he was gonna attack Johnny Impact. It was part of the story, but then he got out, started yelling at Don Callis, and it just didn't make sense to me in the moment. Honestly, I don't like Austin Aries. I said it last week in the podcast. I don't like him. I think he's too in over his head. He thinks too highly of himself, and he's a baby. He really is.
Yeah, I did read something today, though, that said, obviously he wasn't at the Impact tapings Monday and Tuesday where Impact taped TV after Bound for Glory. I did read today, though, he's kind of going off of a loose cannon gimmick.
I saw that today, too.
Something, him and Impact are working together. He's going to appear on other promotions, trash Impact, and he's just going to show up on Impact again somewhere down the line. That's kind of cool. It's kind of different, but yeah, I mean,
If that really is, the truth,
if that's
what
the
they're
truth,
doing.
yeah,
But
because it's certainly, work or not, work or shoot, which was basically what everybody was talking about. And kudos to Impact, because they got people talking. From the brawl that happened at the end of the Abyss's Hall of Fame induction on Saturday night that was going around the internet, to the TMZ, to Austin Aries calling Johnny Impact's wife Husky, and, all these different things. The feud really got personal. So kudos to Impact Wrestling. This is the stuff we want to see in pro wrestling.
And if you watch the match, I could tell it in person. I'm not sure how it translated on TV. They worked stiff. They were really like, Aries actually, in one point of the match, Aries kicked him in the back of the neck, and Johnny Impact shot up and slapped him right in the face. Like, you can tell
sure.
they were really working each other. They were really punching each other, really kicking each other, really slapping each other.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I think, I'm not sure, like I said, how it translated on TV, but in person, it was like, it was a fight. It really was.
Yeah, it definitely was, and that's what I loved about it. That's what got me hyped up on it. But, yeah, I mean, work or shoot, this shouldn't have happened. Again, if I really hope this was a shoot, because if it was a work, then bad choice on Impact Wrestling too, because you don't no-sell that finish in the main event of what's supposed to be your biggest pay-per-view of the year and ruin a great moment for Johnny Impact. Now, it didn't ruin the moment completely, but it put a little damper on it at first because, people wanted to go nuts, people wanted to cheer, and then Austin Aries just pulls that. So, like,
and now everyone's eyes are on Aries, not on, Johnny Impact who just won the title.
And people are talking about that coming out of the event rather than, we have a new Impact World Champion. So bad on Impact if that was their choice to, if it was a work. That's what I'm saying. I can't see how it is a work because you just don't no-sell something like that. And again, if it was a shoot, Austin Aries should know better. I mean, how unprofessional could you be to no-sell a finish like that and ruin Johnny Impact's moment? I mean, why? Because you're salty? It couldn't be because he was salty that he dropped the belt. It couldn't be.
The guy's got like 1 million belts, probably.
And he's had the belt since like April. I mean, he lost it to Pentagon, and then he won it back, and he's been the champion ever since.
Yeah.
What is he complaining about? Impact gave him a shot after he got released from WWE again. He was on top of the world. He's one of the big focal points of the company. What is he complaining about? So where's he going to show up next? Ring of Honor? New Japan? I don't know. It certainly will be interesting, but coming out of it, a lot of controversy surrounding Austin Aries. I mean, like I said, Brian says the no-sell was too much. That's the goal, to get the fans talking about your show. It worked for them, whether it was a shoot or scripted. Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, that's exactly what people want to see in pro wrestling now. They want to be questioned if it's real or fake. And who cares if it's real or fake?
I can give props to Impact because in a matter of 24 hours, there was 2 events that I was like, is this real or not? Mm-hmm. I have not had that feeling in WWE in a long time. I can't tell you something that, that I thought was actually real in WWE. Because like I said, it's very scripted over there in WWE. You can really tell, what's going to happen next.
Right.
With Impact, like I said, watching the video of the brawl, watching the match, and all that stuff that happened afterwards, I was like, I'm not sure if this is real or not. And that just shows how good it is.
Yeah, so, I mean, again, if they are working together, kudos to both. But again, the no-sell just rubbed me the wrong way. And I really, really felt for Johnny Impact in that situation because he definitely deserves more than that. And he looked confused too, which threw everybody off too because he looked at Austin Aries like putting his hands up like what are you doing right now?
Which again added to the fact of, is this real or not? I mean,
yeah.
I said, all the pieces could have been put together. I think that the cameras shouldn't have, focused. I'm sure. I think the cameras focused on Austin Aries as he was walking away instead of Johnny Impact, which I don't think they should have done. I think they'll keep the focus on Johnny Impact in the ring.
Yeah, well, I didn't actually see that on TV. I don't know how it looked on TV. Did they cut away from Austin Aries, or did they show him flipping the bird on pay-per-view?
I don't think so. I think they just showed him, shouting at Don Callis and then walking away.
Yeah, obviously the video floating around online of it. So, yeah, I mean, again, like you said, basically got people talking, and that was the main goal. Brian says the last time I questioned WWE going off script or not was when Brock busted open Orton at SummerSlam. Yeah, I agree. I believe that too, and obviously that was when the reports came out that Jericho went after Brock backstage because of that. So, yeah, I mean, that with Brock Lesnar, it's you could believe some things like that. You can question yourself, but with other things, they kind of seem like it's all part of the show when it comes to WWE. But yeah, Impact Bound for Glory, good stuff. Really enjoyed being there. Great to be there live. A lot of great matches, and Impact continues to go in the right direction in this new era with Don Callis, Scott D'Amore, and whoever else is running the ship. So kudos to them for another great event. Their next pay-per-view they announced is January 6th. Homecoming. They're going back to the Asylum where it all began for them in Nashville, Tennessee, which is their home. So Impact, I like the fact that they do that too. They don't have too many pay-per-view events here and there. They don't have one every month. They have one every couple of months, so they have time to really build towards them. So they're definitely doing some great things. So I encourage everybody to check out Impact Wrestling if you're looking for an alternative, as well as Ring of Honor, New Japan, whatever else is out there and available, because we're basically spoiled nowadays with the amount of wrestling we get to watch. A couple of other things I want to talk about. Punishment Martinez, who former Ring of Honor television champion, who we thought had such a bright future ahead of him, who we thought was easily a future Ring of Honor world champ, signs with WWE.
Yep, another one, another one taken by the WWE. It's like I said, it's a real shame that he signed so soon, because I know he's been around the wrestling business for a while now, but he was fairly new to Ring of Honor, and when he showed up in Ring of Honor, he was new to me.
Yeah,
so,
me too.
When I first saw him was Final Battle. I believe it was Final Battle, had a really cool entrance with the zombies and the cool lighting and the fire, and I was like, wow, this guy's a star.
Yeah.
And he's a good wrestler, good character, and like I said, we all thought that he was going to be a future Ring of Honor champion, and he sees the dollar signs in the contract and he runs.
Yeah, it really is a shame, and I try not to talk down about anybody who is trying to better themselves, put themselves in a better position for them and their families, and I really don't want to question people like that, because when it comes down to it, I mean, you and me would probably take the money too. Again, why wouldn't you? It's a no-brainer, but I do think it was way too soon. I do think he could have offered a lot more to Ring of Honor and the independents in general. I would like to see him in New Japan too a couple of times. I think he would have been cool wrestling there. Just so much more to offer. And then, a picture comes out of DDP at the Performance Center yesterday or the day before, I forget. And you could see Punishment Martinez in the photo. So at the Performance Center, so it's official, and he'll be appearing in NXT. I don't know if I have hope for him in NXT because of how stacked the roster is at this point. I mean, you got Keith Lee, Donovan Dijak, Matt Riddle, who really aren't doing anything right now. And then you're just going to add Punishment Martinez in there. If this is the case, then they got to start bringing people up,
Yeah, well, I heard reports that they were going to bring some. They were going to start some call-ups soon, maybe after Survivor Series, maybe after the Rumble. Which honestly, if you would have asked me a couple months ago how NXT was going to do with a lot of call-ups, I would have said I'm not sure if they can really survive call-ups. But now, honestly, you can call up Ciampa, you can call up Dream, you can call up Undisputed Era, and I think they'll still be fine. Because you got guys like Riddle, Keith Lee, hopefully Dijak. I mean, the guy's been sitting there doing nothing for through like two different eras of NXT top stars, and they still haven't called him in.
Yeah.
Guys like Ono in the undercard, who I think I think will eventually be a top guy.
Yeah, Ono's another one. Yeah, I totally forgot about him. He's sitting back and doing nothing too. They just it's getting to a point where they're it's cool, and like we all love NXT, and Triple H has gotten the best talent. You want to be happy for these guys, but I mean, God, can they slow down a little bit? Like why rush these type of things, And I don't see them calling up Velveteen Dream right now. They're obviously not calling up Tommaso Ciampa. He's the NXT champ. Johnny Gargano, I think, has to get a world title run before they call him up. I don't think him and Ciampa, that feud is over with. I think WrestleMania weekend NXT, it's going to continue and culminate with Johnny Gargano winning the belt. But I mean, it's too crowded right now. That's the thing. It's too crowded, and it's hard to get excited about guys like this jumping ship because we won't see them now. We'll just see them on live events. So it really is a shame. But hey, good for him. Like I said, he puts himself and his family in a better position. He's making a ton of money now. He's obviously a star, so hopefully I wish him the best. Kevin Owens going down with a knee injury, and he just posted a couple of tweets as of earlier today of both knees in casts saying he was 2 for the price of 1. Obviously KO with his humor. Sucks to see. I don't know how long he's going to be out. I read 4 to 6 months. Real damn shame, but hopefully this could be a little reset for Kevin Owens, and he can come back bigger and better than ever, because the guy really hasn't done nothing since dropping the Universal title.
Yeah, it's funny because he said on the podcast a couple weeks ago how he thought that KO and Elias were now going to become this big thing, and of course you can never plan too far ahead in from professional wrestling because accidents happen and things happen. So like you said, I hope that when he comes back, he's a new, like I said, they help reinvent him, maybe put him back in a title picture or top guy spot.
We can only hope because, he's such a talented individual. He's already gotten a lot in WWE, so I can't really complain about his booking overall. I think, he's done way more than I expected him to do in WWE. Obviously, he's got a lot more to offer, though, so let's hope when he comes back, if he comes back before WrestleMania, he comes back better than ever. And NXT UK premiered today on the WWE Network. Did not get to watch it. You didn't either because, we're getting ready for the show and making the drive over here. But it's going to debut every Wednesday, 3 o'clock.
Which is very odd to me, considering it's not live. If it was live, it would make sense, but 3 o'clock is very...
Because they have to cater to the UK audience, and 8 o'clock, if they put it 8 o'clock our time, it would be in the middle of the night, and that's not fair because that's their brand. That's their brand, so they have to put it 8 p.m. UK time, which is 3 p.m. Eastern for us. But I did see Pete Dunne defended against Noam Dar. Heard it was a great match, obviously retaining. We all knew that. This stuff was taped months ago. Tony Storm was in action, so I'll definitely check it out at some point. But yeah, that's going to be every Wednesday, just more and more content. Wednesdays now you have the UK, you have NXT, and you have the Mae Young Classic. So a lot of stuff going down.
205 Live.
Oh, 205, yeah, on Wednesdays too. It's a crazy wrestling night. I mean, I guess WWE just thinks that we have nothing better to do besides watch a ton of wrestling all the time.
So we're slaves to WWE. When they have a show, we watch.
But, that's all we got on this week's edition of the Wrestling Radar. I just want to say thank you to everybody that continues to get in on the conversation on Facebook Live every single week, listening on Ram Nation Radio app. I encourage everybody to download it. It's completely free. Best way, easiest way to listen to us here every single Wednesday. We will be going into a new time slot starting next week, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. instead of 5 to 6. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you very much. This won't affect you either. But follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Wrestle Radar, and subscribe to The Wrestling Radar on YouTube. Got a lot of stuff, a lot of content always going out. Evolution, I'm sure we'll have a vlog for that. We will be there in attendance. You can check out on our Instagram. We have our Bound for Glory Insta story, which is kind of what we do for the non-big trips that we have. Not going to make a vlog of it, but we want to put something out there. So go look at our pictures, our videos, and all that kind of stuff. And just continue to support. Thank you so much. So like I said, that's all the time we got. I'm Ryan. He's Nick. We're signing off here on this week's edition of the Wrestling Radar, and we'll see you next week.